Here I am at PUNKFEST in Chippenham, and I'm with Matt from Lost Cherress.
Hello.
Hello. What time do you get here?
Too early. Way too early.
Too early. So where do you originate from?
London, a London-based band.
Yeah.
From around the Sutton area.
Yeah.
But some of the members now come from all over. But they started out in Sutton.
And how long ago did you decide to get into this?
I've been into it since I was a teenager. I haven't been in the Lost Cherry. I wasn't in the original lineup of the Lost Cherries. But yeah, I mean, same as everybody else does. You know, go to school, someone gives you a record, you start listening to it, and then it sort of takes over a bit.
And which record was that?
Jesus, I can't think. Thing is, I was really lucky that I'm a bit younger than 77 punks.
Right.
But my friends at school, their brothers were.
Right.
So I was probably, I suppose, in 77 I was 11.
Yeah.
So when they were into it, we used to go and nick records out their brothers' rooms and play them. So, you know, really from around sort of 12, 13, when most people start listening to music, that's when I started listening to music.
Yeah.
And because a lot of my friends, their older brothers were into punk, we used to go in there because we thought the records were funny, because they had swearing in them, they had people being sick on the cover, nude women, you know, like to a 13-year-old boy, that's like gold dust.
Absolutely.
So that's how I got into it, and I started playing music as a drummer. I got my first drum kit when I was 14, started my first band basically when we left school, and properly playing, I suppose, 17 was when I first started playing.
Excellent. And what was the name of your first band, do you remember?
Well, the first proper band I was in called Curfew. I've actually got their demos over there on a record. We played from about 83 all the way through to about 89, and then the scene died. You know, just people stopped going out. You could see some of the older bands like Stranglers or stuff like that, but most of the smaller bands all stopped. You know, and then when I had kids and stuff, so I disappeared. We'd go to 2 or 3 gigs, maybe 6 gigs a year, and then it wasn't until my daughter got to about 13, and then I started going out again when she was a bit older, and then obviously the whole scene's just picked up because everybody's pretty much in the same boat, doing the same thing. So that's it, really. And
there's a thing now, they call it new punk, don't they? I mean, what's the difference between old punk and new punk?
Well, I'm lucky. I've got a lot of friends who are in their teens, right, now. And they're not interested in 77. They're sort of a bit interested in 82, and they're sick and tired of people my age telling them they don't know what they're doing. Yeah. Because as far as they're concerned, they just got their mates, their band's mates, and they just do what they do. And I think, great, let them crack on. It's got nothing to do with me. It's got nothing to do with anybody else. No one owns it. It's in the Lost Cherries is a prime example. We've got people who are into it. Like the oldest members were 78. Then I'm an 80s punk. Then the singers is in her 30s, so she's a 90s punk, and we've got Liz who's only in her 20s, so she's like, you know, the new generation. Each one of those have a different set of bands.
Absolutely.
And we, you know, there's no way you'd know every punk band there's ever been. Each generation has a different cut, a different style, a different, you know, a different interest in it, and that's why it will keep going, because people, it's not a set thing. If you look at the Teds from the 70s, how they got stuck and they became really conservative. Same thing happened to psychobilly. Psychobilly became really conservative. People are very judgmental, and so they're not getting young people into it, and it slowly gets smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller. Punk will never be like that because it's just owned by the people. When you read books and you see all these things on the TV and stuff, it's only one person's view. Each punk has a different view, a different world, a different experience, and everybody thinks that was punk. Well, it is. It's their punk, but punk as a whole thing doesn't really exist as a thing. It's just a small groups of people doing what they want to do. As far as I know.
And with the underground music scene, because there is no major sort of music scene for music like punk, metal, or those sort of things. Do you think punk is making a more of a comeback now than it was?
All I would say is protest music appeals to people when things are tough, and things are tough again. You know, I don't like to sound like an old person, but it feels like the 70s again.
Yeah.
There's, it's rough out there, and if you're a 20-year-old kid, you've got no chance.
Yeah.
There's hardly any work. Rents are through the roof. You're paying off. If you've gone to university, if you've been lucky enough to get that far, you're going to have to pay for it. It's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare. So protest music and forms of protest music are always going to be there. And to be honest, my favourite thing at the moment is folk punk, which is a lot of the 20-ish crowd.
Yeah.
They play acoustically. They use all sorts of different instruments, and it's a really big scene. And it's full of energy, and it's just full of everything. And to be honest with you, it's just another facet, and they've taken it in a new direction. I absolutely love it, and more power to their elbow, really.
Right, okay. I always ask some random questions as I go along. Marmite, love it or hate it?
Can give or take. Not really my thing, really.
We'll put you down as a hate then.
Oh yeah. Not that bothered. Not that bothered.
Oh, right. So, your daughter. You were saying about your daughter. Now you can go to see bands. Does she go with you, or does
my
she
daughter
go
does? My daughter's got no interest in it whatsoever. There's a lot of people whose kids come.
Yeah.
My daughter went through a phase when she was about 11. She dyed her hair, and she sort of listened to a bit of stuff. And she's not interested. She had no interest, and I'm not going to force her to come and do anything. So, she's like, she just goes and does her own thing. But we've got people I've got lots of friends who I've met who are my daughter's age.
Yeah.
And one of the funniest things that happened was when my daughter went to college, one of the girls in her college liked the Lost Cherress, and my daughter hid, so she didn't, because obviously she didn't want her to know that I was her dad, and she hid because it was too embarrassing. There you go.
Almost a claim to fame there,
It's just like, it was funny. She's going, oh no, she knows, and then obviously she told her friends that don't tell her that that's my name.
Yeah.
So anyway,
with music scene generally, with venues closing and everything else, it's difficult for bands of all types to play anywhere at the moment. And a lot of there's this pay to play. You have to go and sell so many tickets and things in a place you'd never played before to bring a fan. But
it's no different from the 80s. It's no different from the 80s. It was my band Curfew, as it was. We made demo tapes using synthesizers, using acoustic guitars, and we used to get gigs at other places. We've been banned from the same venue more than once, like twice, because we turn up and it was us again, you know what I mean? And then we just plug in and play. But it was horrific in the mid 80s. It was a nightmare. Same now. People are playing up and they're saying, well, this venue's closing, that. There's always a new venue. There's always a new place. It will find its way. There's always a grotty pub that's desperate to get some punters in, and they'll put punk gigs on for a year or 2 years before they get closed down. There's always a new venue. I know we've all got emotional connections. Ad Lib in London. Places like that I loved. But at the end of the day, it's always somewhere else. I've never been here. How long will this be putting on punk gigs? You don't know.
No.
But there'll always be somewhere else. I'm a firm believer it will find its own. It will always find. So don't panic. It's sad, but don't panic.
And my other random, I've one of three. It's a zombie apocalypse happening now. Who in the band would live the longest, and who would die first?
Oh my God. Well, Tristan would die first because he's always drunk. So, he would definitely die first. And who would live the longest? It's hard. Probably be one of the two girls, actually. Yeah, because they're pretty tough. I would say. So, one of them two. Well, we are Liz and Marie. One of them would probably be the...
Make it.
Probably Liz, actually, because she's even... I would edge Liz more than Marie, actually. I'd probably get killed for that. But,
So, after here, where are you playing next, or what's happening next?
We're fighting our way through a new album, which we started almost a year ago. We're still writing, and it's all well underway, but it's just finding the time. It's a nightmare. And gigs, you go and do gigs, and that interrupts everything. And so the next thing for us is to try and get this album finished over Christmas and the New Year, and then after that we've got some gigs. Obviously, AWOD in happens in March, beginning of March every year, which Steve, the bass player, puts on, and all the band help out. So it's a London gig. It's a 4-day festival. It's a good festival, and he's got Dirt and he's got Amiga Tribe to play this year, which every year he tries to get one of the old Anico bands to reform and play, and he's done brilliant. If it wasn't for him, bands like Hagar the Womb wouldn't be playing, because it was him who encouraged them to come and have a go again, and once they come out and they see that people are around and it's all a good laugh, they tend to stick around. So we're all benefiting from that. So AWODs is the next big thing for us.
And any artist, living or dead, who would you most like to play on stage with, or would have liked?
I don't know. Oh God! I'll tell you who I'd like to. It's so difficult. That's such a difficult question. Such a difficult question. I suppose, hero-wise, I think. I don't know. I'm not big on that. I can't answer it. I can't answer you.
You can have more than one. I'll let you have more than one if it makes it easier.
It makes it even harder. It's a nightmare. I don't know. Oh God. It's funny because I've been in bands with people who have been in big bands, and funnily enough, sometimes that just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. They're not who you think they are. Do you know what I mean? When you get in a studio with someone, they're a totally different person when you meet them outside. So musically, the fit's got to be right, and I'd rather play with the first band that was on today. I would rather play with them than anybody famous, because they just got up there and they did their thing. So for me, the chemistry's got to be right. You've got to have, I think bands are like gangs, right? They're like a gang. You stick together, you stand there, it's hard being in a band. And there's a certain amount of loyalty in that. It's a relationship. A band's a relationship. So, getting the chemistry in the band is really, really hard. So, it's like Lost Cherress has been through a number of different lineups. People come in, go out, the band's been fluid, but that adds to the creativity of the band. But also, this current lineup's a really good, comfortable lineup. We've had some fights, and we when we go in the studio, we fight like crazy. We're all arguing because we've got 4 people in the band who write music, 4 people who write lyrics. So, we've all got our own opinions, and it can get pretty spicy. So, it's all about relationships, and if you're, you don't have to be close mates. That's why I say it's like a gang. That's like a gang. But I think they've got to be the right people. I wouldn't. That's why I find it really difficult. If that answers the question.
That answered the question very well. Well, thank you, Matt, for giving me some of your time. I hope you enjoyed that.
Didn't I? I had to be first.
Of course.
What a nightmare. All right.
I'm sure it's fine. Thank you very much.
You can edit all of it out.
No, we never edit.